So here we are, it's the end of week 8 now of the challenge, and I suppose it's the last week of me reading in February, as we'll be going into March next week, so 2 months into this challenge, and I have just literally about 5 minutes ago finished reading The Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare. Now, I sort of have really weird mixed feelings about this book. For the past couple of weeks I've been reading these prequels to the Mortal Instruments series. These are called the Infernal Devices, these books, and this is the last one. So there is a lot I had kind of expected from this book. I still had questions I wanted answering, and I did get answers to those questions and such in this book. And I kind of felt like it was very up and down because of this whole thing of Team Will versus Team Jem, which I've spoke about in my past 2 book reviews for the other 2 books of these prequels. If you haven't checked them out, then please do, and you'll understand what I'm talking about because I've referred to them in those other 2 reviews. And the whole the main storyline of Mortmain and what he's trying to do, he's the villain of our story. I felt good when it ended, but at the same time I kind of felt that it was kind of very, well, not poorly, but it was quite a silly ending for his story, because and not to get me wrong, it was a good story. I mean, it kept me going through the 3 books, but still, it kind of felt like as soon as it was said, and obviously, I'm saying it here now. Throughout this review, I might say some major spoilers, so if you don't want to be spoiled, stop watching. But I kind of right. So here we go. This is what I'm going to say. I kind of felt that if you have this thing where this villain has been, so evil, he's been killing all these people, he's made these creatures that are going to wipe out all the shadow hunters, and then you go, oh, by the way, they're all linked to me, so that if I die, that means that all of them will suddenly stop working. He just suddenly says that ages before the end of the book. It's like, well, you've just let us know what's going to happen. It does frustrate me sometimes when writers do that. I understand why they need to sort of reveal kind of a loophole or something, but especially because it's fantasy and anything can happen in fantasy, if you're going to do something like that, you need to make what they're doing, or the actual situation, to be a really powerful thing. And I felt in my heart that it just wasn't. So what Tessa did to stop him, to wipe him out and stop his storyline, was great. But I remember that element of the book more than any other aspect of Mortmain's story in this book. So I don't know if that says something about the that storyline in this book. But yeah, it was kind of like, thinking over what I've just read this past week, I can remember little bits of the story, and then that ending scene of his, and then that's it. That's all I can remember of Mortmain in this entire book. So for that purpose, I really do, and I still feel it, as I mentioned in the previous book, that perhaps the storyline of his thing of what he's doing, the evil villain of our piece, should have been over 2 books, not 3. Now the entire rest of this 500 and some page book is taken up with Tessa's complex relationship with Will and Jem. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like complex relationships with characters and all this lot, but I absolutely love Jem. I'm Team Jem all the way. I'm still Team Jem. Over this way, I've grown to love and respect Will, but my heart belongs to Jem. That's the way it is. But it kind of felt like, oh God, do I have to go through another chapter of her choosing between these 2 guys? Not to say that I felt that it was bad. This book is just, it was so weighed down with this relationship that I couldn't really break through it. I mean, every time my heart went with Jem. And when another thing that Cassandra Clare has done this before in the Mortal Instruments, which I'm going to start rereading for next week, but that's, I'll talk about that in another video. In the Mortal Instrument books, there was one character in the very last book where Cassandra Clare did something to them that basically they were still alive, but it meant that his relationship with the main character was dead because of this situation. And I got really angry. I was so angry, it actually made me cry. I was like, I don't know why. I was so fuming, and my emotions got spurred up within me and I just exploded. But yeah, it actually made me cry. I was so angry with her. And then she went, oh, by the way, I found this thing. Oh, so he's actually not this way after all. And I was like, I remember reading it and I was really quite miffed that she decided to do that, because I thought that's such a cop out. That's just ridiculous. Why, if you were going to reverse it at the very end, why the heck did you do this thing in the first place? It was so stupid. It was unnecessary. What was the bloody point? Now, she's done the same thing in this with Jem, but I can understand why she's done it with Jem in this book, with the whole he's ill, he's dying, he's dead, he's not dead, kind of all this back and forth, in order so that the ending is very satisfying, because it's satisfying for both Team Will and Team Jem, likers. So for that fact, I get why she did that. It was a very long, process to get there, but it had a purpose to it, and it's made me finish this book feeling content for Jem and for Tessa, where they are, their relationship with Will, what it means for them now, compared to when they were younger. So I get that, but in what she did in the last Mortal Instruments books was just stupid. So so when I came to that point in this book where it got flipped around, I was just a bit like, because I'd already read the Mortal Instruments, so I knew that this sequence was going to happen, because it got partly shown in the Mortal Instruments, and then this took over and kind of shown the other flip side to this situation. So yeah, I was kind of, when it first started, I was just like, Cassandra, please don't tell me you're going to do this again, because I wasn't sure if it was going to link to that scene that I've read in the Mortal Instruments. And I was getting a bit het up. I was just a bit like, oh, Cassandra, don't do this. Please don't do this to me. And then she did it, and I was angry and sad and somewhat happy at the same time, because I love Jem so much. It's kind of, I really hope, because I know she's writing another one. It's due to be released soon, the next book, which is going to be, it's set 5 years after when the Mortal Instruments ended. I really hope she doesn't continue to write like that, in regards to doing something because it makes this really dramatic thing, and then right at the end of your book you just go, oh, there, let's just reverse it, just poof, out the air, let's just reverse it and everything will be happy again, because it completely devalues the whole point why she did it in the first place. So even though I really did like this book, I did feel that there were bits of it that she did that were unnecessary. There were some bits to do with Tessa's relationship with Will and Jem that was just a bit too long, a bit too much. I kind of got a bit sick of reading more and more of her debate about who to be with and such, because if you think about it, she's already done that for 2 books, so that's about 800, 900 pages that we've already read of that, and then we've got another 500 pages on top of that of her deciding who she should be with. So it was just a bit like, oh, I'm getting a bit tired of this now. Saying that though, I would reread the series again, but I think, I need, because obviously this is the first time I've read it, I didn't know what to expect, but now I know what to expect having finished reading it. I think I'd need to go back and reread it, and just see what I think about it again. it's a very strange set of prequels, and it's very much, I like, in the beginning of the Mortal Instruments series, because she wrote, I think it was 4 of the 6 books before she started to publish these prequels. um you know, you can see her writing style kind of developing, and you really don't know what the structure is. And then by the time of book 4, you can clearly, you know, see the structure of how she writes and everything, and her twists and turns and all that in it. And then she's thrown that same structure and thrown it with a bit more force into these prequels. Um, you know, which is great to see. They, you know, because you have that still, that great lineage of the flow of the story and the characters and everything. But at the same time, she does things in her writing that really annoys me. And like I said, makes these decisions to do these things when I don't feel that they're necessary at all. And she's so heavy on relationships and feelings, which I can understand are very important when you're like 17 and all everything, and deciding who you should be with, yada yada yada. But at the same time, I just feel like going, oh, please get on with it. So yeah, I have really, really kind of mixed feelings about this book, but I would still say give it a go, give it a good read, because I love Jem. I really love Jem, and I'm glad where he is at the end of this book. And it does make me think possibly that Jem and Tessa could possibly be mentioned in the new books that are due to be published, or might not. It might just be a case of she's deciding to leave it there, and it's up to us, the readers, to decide what happens in their life and everything. So yeah, I'm happy where they are. I'm happy with the story. I'm happy that I've had answers to the questions I had and everything. But it was very kind of heavy going in areas that I just, yeah, I just didn't quite catch on to. I don't know, maybe it's just me, maybe it's just because it's been a hellish few weeks with work and everything, that I found it quite difficult to read and everything. So I don't know. Maybe I do need to reread them again just to see how I feel about them overall. But at the moment, the first 2 books I thought were good. The third one, as I said, a bit too heavy. There really wasn't much of the main story, and even though it had a satisfying ending for all fans of the book, regardless of if they were on Team Will or Team Jem, I think there's some flaws to it. But you know, that's what I'm feeling at the moment. But yeah, have you read this book? What do you think? I'd love to hear what you think of this story. You can leave me comments if you like, or you can give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down to let me know what you think. Overall, I've enjoyed the prequels, but yeah, had some difficulties in there as well. So now that the prequels are over, it's time to move on to the Mortal Instruments. But I'll be making a separate video about announcing the next book, as I always do. So I'll be back soon with a new video, and yeah, I'll see you soon.